Beautiful brothers and sisters, welcome to Direct Channeling. Direct Channeling here with Gaia Ariati on my YouTube channel. So if this is your first time receiving Direct Channeling, please like, subscribe. If you are into understanding soul development, ascension, transcendence, and all things human experiential learning. I did not put up any reminders today. So I didn't do any reminders about a session today. I almost was like, Source, God, is it guided? Are we going on today? Are we coming in live to offer some wisdom and information? And I didn't get no, but I also feel like today might be a little different and a little bit more sporadic. However, if this is your first time jumping on a Q&A, please do have your questions ready, that they can be placed into the chat and be aligned with guidance around whether or not there are questions that are supportive to the entirety of the whole, being that of a teacher of the law of one and sovereignty. Everything that I do share is around ensuring that information is supportive to the totality of the experience. So if you've put questions in before and I haven't been answered, I'd love to ask that you have a bit of self-reflection around whether or not they were supportive to the group space. So we can get some engagement, and people watching, please jump in, say hello, where you're watching from. The more engagement tells the algorithms of YouTube that this is something of value, and those that use channeling and Q&As that would like soul information, transcendence, all of these different things, that it tells them basically that this video is resonant to you and that this is an educational offering that would be supportive. Now, you may hear my robo back in the background. So if that's there, then my apologies. So what are we doing today? That's a great question. And if you know me, I have found my pathway of whether you want to call it enlightenment, a state of presence, peace, healed from trauma, all of the different labels you might want to place on it by basically using question. And question is one of the most powerful ways to create knowing and wisdom, is to question everything, to allow for the question to provide the truth, because the mind often doesn't question. It goes into conclusions. It goes into states of expectations. It goes into confinements. It goes into contractions and constructs of reality. And the mind has been designed to know. The challenge is that we are coming from the separate mind. So the separate mind, its knowing is based on all of the different experiences, programs that have existed there, and that those experiences create what is known. The known experience of your mind, because it is a problem solver, will say, well, when I was 5 and this happened, I decided that it was no longer safe in the world, and now I have a guard over my heart and I don't let anyone in. That's what I know to be truth in my reality. So that's what creates the separate mind, is many of those different experiences, not just the damaging ones, but also all of the positive narratives. And sometimes we forget about the positive narratives and how we go, oh, well, I got love when this plus this plus this equals love, and I'm going to do this plus this plus this, because then love will always come to me. And the challenge is that those formulas are often operating from fragmented parts of self or separate mind that creates different solutions. They also can limit you depending on where you're choosing to go as an individual soul in development. So the question is, what are we doing today? And I'm going to invite you to feel in and invite your being, your body, in this collective space and this energy to navigate our experience today. And we're going to take a couple of deep breaths to allow for that informed mind to be able to be heard. Close your eyes down and ensure that whenever you listen to any of my transmissions, you're not operating heavy machinery or driving on highways at high speeds or doing anything that could cause your altered states of consciousness to be in danger. So if you are currently doing that, then please take a pause and come back later. And taking some deep, strong breaths in now, where we ask to stimulate the systems, the nervous system, the heart, by breathing in and breathing out. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. So from the place of your sacred heart, from the place of the center of your being, the unity point, where the above, the below, the inner, the outer all get to communicate together, I'm going to ask you to feel into what the energy system is that is most contribution to today's session. So the energy system. Now you don't need to know what energy system even means. You might receive one word, you might receive multiple, and you might get a feeling or a sensation, and you might need a little bit of time to translate that, and that's okay. And we're going to ask for what the energy system is that is most contribution. Now, we only have 5 people live, so this will be interesting to see if we're all in coherence and if we are all allowing for the message to be heard. And we're going to place what the energy system is in the chat box. And you're going to pop it in there around what energy is of most coherence to you in this moment. And we are going to let what comes through from those listening live, allowing to navigate this. This might even be a collective quantum channeling. This might be that of the timelines or pathways forward. This could be an oracle visioning. This could be many things. And so we're asking very intentionally that this group space is creating it. Now, I know 2 of my beautiful sisters and initiates are on live, and they can bring through information. So I'm going to hope that they receive and can place it into the space, and anyone else that is receiving. Otherwise, if we are not co-creating the experience by placing the energy system to build the vortex, right? So the vortex is already being built. If you can see, I'm rocking. Some of you will probably be rocking. Some of you will probably be moving and swaying. And often when people come into my space, because I am a complete open channel, I don't close off, I have no walls, I have no barriers. I am a vessel for consciousness and for communication with the divine. The systems will automatically respond. So you might feel that your chakras start to naturally open, your breath starts to naturally deepen, and different energetics will start to move through you. And that's because we are mirroring to each other, where you get to feel what it is and I get to feel what you are, and we get to co-create an experience, or what's called a toroidal field of information. And we are not getting any comments at all. So this is working exactly how it is being guided. And that is perfect. Maybe this is the preliminary stage. So one of the things that I can see spirit, I can see the energy, I can see everything moving. It's quite hilarious. Is that often I have a group called Bring the New Earth Tribe, and we are here to bring in the New Earth consciousness, to anchor it, to build sustainable leadership, sustainable business, sustainable relationships, sustainable life in the form of New Earth consciousness. And we have regular transmissions, and it's often the theme is brought up the night before, or sometimes if we're lucky, we get a little bit more information beforehand, but we work in present moment time. So it can be very challenging to receive based on New Earth consciousness before that of the time of arrival. And if I don't share a theme, what happens is that people come, and they come for a very specific activation, a very specific receiving. Now, always when I don't say what I'm doing, whether it's in my Purity of Isis Mystery School containers, whether it is in any time, if I don't pre-explain what we're doing or where we're going, and I leave it to sovereign choice, soul truth, the numbers are so minuscule. So minuscule. And it's not because I haven't invited, it's not because I don't know, it's actually around choice points. So today is a choice point. So if you've landed here and you are on this live, then you have chosen. And what you have chosen is always a magical experience, because choice points mean that no matter what's being weaved through the words, right? I haven't really said anything for the last 10 minutes. That the weaving and the communication is pre-preparing your body for this choice point moment, for this direct channel, for this information. And what happens is if we don't allow ourselves to listen, right? And I've watched sisters come in and there's been massive choice points on live calls and one of them hasn't. And I was like, wow, that was so massive and interesting to watch. Those choice points don't come around again. So you might receive this replay and you'll receive, absolutely. But the choice point time frame is in the moment. They are moments of direct alignment with guidance, direct alignment with choosing, direct alignment with recognition of that my soul's choosing this and I'm going to be here for it. So I am very, very, very excited to hear what it is that we are going to receive in relation to the choice point that has led you to this moment. And we're going to go directly into the direct channeling. And we're not going to ask questions. So you're going to experience a little bit of what I do in the Bring the New Earth Tribe. So Bring the New Earth Tribe, we do direct quantum channeling sessions where we connect into the infinite source of information, and it recalibrates you instantaneously and allows for the energy to provide a pathway from the 0 point. And these are very, very powerful. So please be aware. And for those that were driving and had to pull over, you all know your capacity. Some of you know if you can drive with your eyes open. Look, I have received many things, many times in spaces and places where technically shouldn't be having an altered state of consciousness. But that's what learning to be the walking, talking channel is. It's learning to be eyes wide open, the mouth still moving, body still engaging and present in your reality so that you can be a vessel for divine truth, so that you can be a vessel for energy. So if you have that capacity and if you can receive eyes wide open and stay focused, and then that is your chosen sovereign birthright. So eyes open, eyes closed, whatever is true for you in this moment, we're going to see what choice point has landed right here for the beautiful 8 souls that have chosen. And we're going to ensure that we all come into the collective energetics, the collective receiving. And we're going to take some nice, strong, deep breaths to ensure this is a stable information channel and that the information that comes through is of the highest vibrational truth, and that it is supportive to the totality here. Continuing to breathe and just assimilate. Assimilation assists with your being coming back to that space of consciousness where you can just be without resistance, without story, without thought. Where your breath takes over, your body relaxes, your spine straightens, the energy moves through you from you as you. And it's only when the energy consciousness comes to the perfect assimilation that of a direct conduit can either receive the information or the conduit has to go and search for the thread of information. So there's 2 ways that a channel can be the direct receiver. They can sit, as I am right now, in the current and the energy flow and wait for that of what is here to be expressed through And you might have seen people directly channel, their body bounces. Sometimes a big flood of energy drops into their body. And when they drop out of it, they will have different frequencies that literally come out of their frequency, out of their body. Or the individual can go up and out of their body to find through the time-space continuum the thread of information. And this could be what you would consider Akashic record reading, or looking into the holes of a Menti, going through the galactic channels of data, any motherboards. That would be something that you usually go up and out of your body to locate, as it's not your direct physical experience. It's something that you're finding within the creation space. And different ways of receiving can receive the same information from a different perspective. So right now we are focusing on receiving and receiving different information from different perspectives based on what is here and present. We're almost at a point where that of the information that wants to be shared will come through. It being with your breath, being with my words, the vibrational tonality of my voice, hearing the different peaks and falls, the breath. All of that is telling you, your somatics, your system, it is preparing you, it is navigating through you, it is weaving light through the synapses pathways, and it is bringing through a point where your receptivity is able to be in connectivity with the complete alignment of the information, which is where the 0 point comes in. Let us first say that the choice point that has been provided for you in this moment, if you have made yourself onto this live transmission, is that of the reclamation and the retainment through that of what you might call the dimensional realm of divinity consciousness. There is many stories around connecting to the divine nature. There's many stories around informing yourself of your divine truth, divine alignment, divine timelines, divine plans. That this energy is one that is used within your collective field of consciousness quite often, and yet there are very few that have connection to divinity itself. There are very few individuals that have a pathway of understanding the divinity line and the DNA signature that's required within a physical human body to be able to translate, omit, and assist in the form of the frequency output through the human expression. The divinity consciousness comes from a very specific point of time within the quantum experience. That of a point of time that is not well researched, nor is it well documented. It is being awoken in the remembering of those that are from the divinity timeline, that are from the point of the utopian threads of the first point of existence. That if you want to give it name, that it allows for you to recognize where the origin point of divinity sits. The divinity consciousness is one of the higher octaves of interpretation of reality. And yet, divinity consciousness and the divine plan, the divine alignment, the divine truth, the divine soul, the divine spirit are very vastly far from the integration into the grids of your earth experience. Divinity consciousness at this present moment of time is being moved through the warriors of light. The warriors of light are currently being led by Archangel Michael and are supported by that of the individuals of a 7-pillar experience of different ascended masters in the female form. These ascended masters are embodied around your physical experience, whether they are awake to their divine nature or whether they are moving through the process of awareness. And this is allowing for what you might consider light architecture to be able to be built through the grid lines to allow for a point of a spark of divine consciousness to be awoken into the inner earth. At this point in time, to experience divine consciousness, you need to come into a state much like what I am in. You need to get to a point where you have no dimensional realms or a clear vessel of nothingness, that you are able to hold that thought. I am going to ask my robo vacuum to pause.
Task paused.
There was a little bit too much AI interference. Divinity consciousness is only able to be reached through those that are allowing themselves to come into no mind, the space before thought, the void that some might consider it, or the womb before the creation. This is where your mind stops in the darkness or the stillness, and then the information comes through. This is a large expression of what divine consciousness is. This is why there's a divine plan. Divine plan means that the plan does not actually have a direction until the present moment of the spark of the plan's thought in that moment of the collective whole. That the divine remembrance that you experience is remembrance in the present moment of remembering thyself in the totality of existence. That this divine experience is present moment before timelines, before archetypes, before creation, before any interpretation of reality. And so when you follow the divine plan, when you listen to the divine path, it is being created for you in the moment of the breath, before the thought and the spark of information comes through in its connection to divinity itself. Divinity is before that of what you might call God's presence. It is before that of what you would consider primordial creator. It is a point of the everything and the nothing. The very thought of trying to find this point will take you from it. And this is the challenge with being a code carrier for this consciousness to return to the earth. As this current mission is in place, and there are many of you that are embarking upon this mission, it is important to see where some of the primary members of support are entering your field. If you are being visited by the purified expression of Metatron, if you are being visited by the purified expression of Archangel Michael, if you are being visited and initiated by the purified expression of Kuan Yin, if you are being purified in the initiation process of that of Mother Gaia in her original creation space, and if you are being initiated and guided through the visitations and the connections to Saint Germain, you may be finding yourself a part of this experience. The point of it is not that you need to do anything for the earth, nor do you need to do anything for your brothers and sisters, nor do you need to really. And so a channel like this is taking you to the point of the pathways of information so that as a collective whole, as a group consciousness, and even those that receive this at a later point in time, they are able to activate and awaken to the divine consciousness. They're able to awaken to and activate their divine nature. Whether or not they choose to become the embodiment or whether they weave it through the threads of light, the ethereal realms, or into the grid work points within the earth and the matter beneath us, it does not matter, because right here now there is enough of a sustainable pathway through those that have chosen to be able to simultaneously receive without knowing what is taking place, allow for the connection points within the earth to occur. So as you hear these words, what you're seeing, what you're doing, what you're being is far greater than any of the words that are spoken. And this is important as a leader. This is important as a guide. This is important as a light being to understand and fully know that your contribution is far greater than your physical presence, and yet your physical presence is the contribution. And so whether or not you focus on anything or whether you create anything with intention or other than just receiving, becoming the receiver allows for the magic to occur. And then the ripple effect of the magic occurring becomes the physical manifestation of reality. And so what we need to know is that this mission specifically has a ripple effect on humanity in a way that has not yet been seen. When you bring something that has been a concept or a hope or a faith to a mass group of individuals, yet has not been really a tangible creation in this reality up until recently, the divine plan was misconstrued, misunderstood. We believe that timelines meant that we would be guided on the divine plan, but yet these are pre-created. These are from programs or mission assignments or directions or plans. They have a destination, and yes, they have been helpful and they have been supportive, and you have been guided along them and pulled along them, and your monadic self and your guides and all of the different energy systems. You have walked these paths to get to a point where the divine plan can be instated. The divine plan has no end goal. The divine plan has no trajectory. The divine plan is each moment of present experiencing of divine consciousness itself, the space and the first light. And so this means that humanity, as a ripple effect to this experience and this choice that has been made here now, together as a group of souls, supporting one another, as well as the totality of the all in God's name through the law of one and sovereignty, allows for the human species to come into what is considered an organic experience. You may have heard of synthetic timelines, pre-created timelines, highest timelines, heart's timelines. How do you know what timeline to really choose? Well, the thing is that you'll choose a different timeline variation depending on the consciousness that you're functioning at and the level of hierarchical information that you hold. That you will allow for yourself to become whatever timeline is necessary for you to get to the transcendent state or the arrival or the completion of what it is that you as an individual soul have chosen. And so as you choose the timeline that is most resonant to you, you know that it will take you to the arrival point of the next destination. This is why your highest timeline, your heart's timeline, no timeline, depending on what your resonant vibration is, will give you exactly the result you desire, exactly the result that is necessary for you to complete. Everything in this experience is about completing a task, a mission, a purpose. Although it doesn't seem that way, each soul's evolution is based on different completions, different cycles, different planetary evolvements. Some of you are cycling through these completion points very rapidly and very quickly, and one word will resonate and then something new pops in, and that is perfect because you are moving, changing, transforming. Different partners, friends, lands will all be a part of this. It shows the rapid transformation of your ability to move with life and let life provide for you. And so the awareness is that humanity has not had this option. So why is this choice point of being an anchor, a pillar, or a warrior of light, a being in support of the greater mission of divine consciousness in form, is because we offer an opportunity where humanity can choose either a timeline or no timeline, where presence becomes something that breaks down the matrix constructs of mind as an availability no matter what level of human experience one is at. And if we look at the human species, the majority of the human species is functioning from that of a two-dimensional, three-dimensional, four-dimensional consciousness. These consciousnesses have been locked into the matrix system of synthetic and organic timelines. An organic timeline is a timeline that's created from someone such as you and I that is creating a timeline through the planned information, through that of what can be created with a trajectory and a point of experience as the end result. This is why timelines shift and change all the time, because we have been creating them to get to a specific point of evolution. Something changes, we need to create a new timeline. A timeline shift occurs. You are not bouncing between timelines. You are the creator of timelines. So if timelines are constantly changing and pivoting, it's because the earth and your ability to create them is shifting and changing. If you don't want things to pivot so much, then choose presence. Choose no timeline. Be able to be the divine consciousness. And this allows for a more sovereign expression on the earth. Most of you are here to bring sovereignty back to the earth. Many different ways sovereignty has returned. Many different ways sovereignty still remains far-fetched for the human species. There is much agenda, confinement, restriction, restraint, suppression. Although there is not the malevolent and the evil aspects, as these beings have now been told and have to present themselves. They have to show their intention. An entity has to show you it's an entity. Something that is coming from the lower realms has to show you that it is demonic. It has to show you it does not have a point of love or care for you. It has to show you it will feed off you. It will tell you, and then you choose to consent into that based on your own internal programming. Yet, when we choose to no longer consent into those agreements, those energies will no longer be present on the earth. There is a massive eradication to any of the beings that chose not to start to unveil and share. You might see these as different walk-ins that are taking place. Different humans that have had lower dimensional consciousness, descended consciousness that can no longer be within the physical experience. And they are losing this expression within the vessel. Some are going into human consciousness, basically a consciousness of a being that is a human being that does not have a infiltrated consciousness coming from the lower realms up. Some of these beings are choosing to go through evolution and are having star seeds, galactic beings, unity, ascended beings, all coming in. There are many different formations, and some of the vessels are choosing to die. So these transformations are allowing you to recognize, if you look, if you see, if you witness politics, if you witness social media, you'll start to see that people are telling the truth. People are showing you through their eyes. People are very much sharing through their word. So if you're engaging in anything that is not what you perceive to be your truth, then your truth is that you're engaging. And as these areas of sovereignty are realized, the areas that you are not sovereign will also be realized. The areas within the experience where, as you shift and move and recognize that you're the co-creator of your experience, that you created the earth as it is, and that you are responsible for the earth and humanity as one being, because we are one mind, will allow for you to take a level of ownership, accountability, and responsibility for your emotions, your thoughts, your physical presence, and that of your spiritual expression. Many of you are still dancing in the realms of entanglement, where you are tethering. And what this is supplying is that a physical vessel is choosing at a human level to be a specific evolvement, maybe to choose love or co-creation or new earth. Yet their internal structures, their consciousness and their spiritual expression is choosing another reality. And so there's a split. Now you might call this a soul split. You might call this a split personality. It is not two spirits, nor is it two souls. It's a split in energy systems where the human, in the form of emotional and physical, is choosing one reality, and the mental and the energetic is choosing another reality. And this is what you could see as the old world, new world concept. Is there are many beings that you could consider these double agents that are working between both realms, that don't know how to choose one or the other, that are stuck, that creates a level of holding the new earth, old earth energies together. They need to make a choice, and they are being presented with the influx of the divine consciousness that has come through as an offering to assist these beings to choose one way or the other. So you're starting to see the importance of this mission. You're starting to see your ripple effect for being here. And you're starting to see how powerful you are. Because as you and I here channel the divine consciousness into the points of the earth as one group, being, consciousness, field, toroidal expression, sound mind, the separation point between old earth and new earth becomes greater. Because as the influx of energy comes in, the point of distance becomes further. And you might have already noticed this. You might have already really started to see where different people are so far from you if you're in New Earth. And then when you step back into Old Earth, you feel very connected. You might be seeing that those that are functioning from Old Earth, and if you're fully in New Earth, that they are not anywhere near anything that you're creating, and that you cannot coexist with them. This separation point is necessary for the next steps of the evolution of that which is being created. And so if you are one that is split between worlds, this divide through the consciousness that is present, or those in your field, will become very, very uncomfortable. Because, like you, have made a choice point, those that are here that are also making this choice point, they have to choose. You can't dance between realms anymore. You can't be a bridge in the same form of what you thought or what you wanted, because it's disruptive to yourself and to others. The bridge of reality is an illusion. When one chooses new earth in totality and lets go of all stories, they realize that they can hold old earth. They can hold every being because they're there for the all. They are not there for a illusion of reality. If you hold the bridge, you continue to tether between the realms, and that of the point of distance is unable to be navigated in truth. And those that are choosing old earth need to choose. It is not that Gaia or Tara or any of the forms of how you would like to interpret this is right or wrong, but it does come to a point of the split of cells, just like biology, just like any cell. It cannot continue. Either the cell chooses to hold on to what was and it dies, which none of us really truly desire, or it evolves and it splits in totality where you have two complete separate cells. This is the evolve or die statement that you might have heard many times. We use it as a confrontational representation of experience. Or you can say evolve or repeat. Yet, you can only repeat so long before you'll die. And so this repeat has been occurring on your planet for a very long period of time. The repeat will send you into dissension where the world will cease to exist. Yet, you have chosen to shift out of that paradigm. You are here. You are of service. You are listening. You came. And when you came, what happened was those that chose to evolve, evolved. Those that chose the path of death are dying. And those that are still repeating need to make their final choice. This is uncomfortable because this is another representation of what you'll start to see ripple out into the physical reality. You're already watching the earth, you're already watching the weather, you're already watching the news, the government, you're already watching. That's only the beginning, my loves. It is only the first sparks of what's to come. And I will continue to remind you, I will continue to prepare you. And sometimes I apologize that these messages come far earlier than your mind can conceive and interpret them. But everything you've ever heard, everything that has ever been predicted, sometimes those timelines based on the stories of our own creation to get to a specific choice point have been misinterpreted, misunderstood. But the truth is that things are accelerating once again, and that there is a necessity for you to see what it is that you're creating, because you are sovereign. Are you focusing on where you're going? Are you losing yourself in the distractions? Are you disconnecting and reaching backward? Or are you choosing to exit in some form? All perfect, but choose with conscious awareness. That allows for humanity to also choose. So as we ask the warriors of light and Archangel Michael, Saint Germain, that of Metatron, Kuan Yin, and Mother Gaia to support the completion of this direct channeling and contribution, that we ask them to support us in the ways that is necessary and needed for our pathway to sovereign conscious choice. And we ask that through this divinity consciousness that has been brought as a spark of possibility for the earth and the shift so that the divine plan can be instated, that what is to be embodied is embodied. What is to be created is created, and what is to be chosen is chosen here now. That as the warriors of light, as the code carriers of divine consciousness, and as those here to work, here in the love of sovereignty, freedom, and choice, that we receive that now, that we allow that now, that we become that now. Di karamate shambata karamoto ko shambata keri. Biti ki shakata karakoto ko shambata karamoto keri. Bate ki sapata ka shambata keri anai. Do ushampoto re pite ki ana. Romboto shambete ki. Rakke shakata karamoto ko shambata ki anai. Di shepitiki tata karamata. Ta karamata kata. Te shkapata karamata ki. Ma asete taramate. Nasate shambata karamate. Ashketi taramana. Dashka itaramana. Dashka etarimanana. Ashka etarimanana. And taking 3 really strong breaths to allow yourself to be released. Breathing it in and breathing it out. Breathing it in. And breathing it out. And breathing it in. And breathing it out. Now, for those of you that listen to this at a later point in time, it didn't mean that you didn't choose. You might have chose from where you were in presence, and now you're receiving the conscious information of it. For those of you that dropped into an altered state of consciousness, you may need to revisit some of this to understand it cognitively. For those of you that just wanted to allow for the divine plan to be a possibility, thank you. And thank you to all of us as co-creators of this experience, as we truly give love and grace to how the world is shifting, moving, and evolving. And for those of you that made a choice and have had a choice placed upon you to step into one world or the other, thank you for choosing. And I hope that it is easeful and graceful for you. Until our next direct channeling session and our time together, please be kind, loving, soft. For those of you that are in the new earth or landing in the new earth, it's making sense. It will start to land, I promise. And for those of you that are still wondering why, and you're still circling the patterns of karma, know that it's about experience. There's nothing wrong. You didn't miss anything. You didn't not land in the new earth, or you're not repeating things. You're actually experiencing through a specific dimensional reality. You're choosing experience because it has something for you. That's beautiful. And for those of you that might be interested in the new framework that I'm offering, the CAD framework, the discounted offers are now complete. They have all been filled up. So the price is actually $431 for an hour session. These are creation, right? So you go to the 0 point and you create from the 0 point. That is that pure consciousness state. That is for those that are resonating to everything that I just spoke to. And for those that really want to shift into the embodiment that they've known, the truth, if they're stepping into their throat chakra activations, if they've done a lot of work in their purpose, they've just been afraid to step out in business, or they are ready to call in a partner, they are ready to shift into a new reality, it brings a new experience through a new form. And I would love to invite you to experience this beautiful magic. I have been recording these sessions and I am so grateful, and I will be asking consent fully from those that have testimonials, so you can see the end result. Oh my goodness, every single individual that has gone through this has just blown me away and helped me to go, oh yeah, I'm living my purpose. All right, my loves, thank you, thank you, thank you. Please do engage, like, subscribe, do the things, so that we can share this beautiful divine consciousness. I love you.